there were all kinds of issues around Attica, the prison rebellion, and support for the Attica, the brothers, and blah, blah, blah. And then there was a building takeover at Cornell, and while I did not participate in taking over the building, I was one of the few people who could easily get into the building and come out again, and I don't think the administration liked that at all. And there were a whole bunch of these kinds of things, mainly you could say having to do generally with anti-war stuff, the Vietnam War. Um, yeah, I was involved in a group of that early period called Science for the People that um, grew up on academic campuses dealing with the complicity of universities in war making, research on campuses being used for warfare, and all the rest of that sort of thing. So when I came here, I basically got fired at Cornell. When the job opened here at University of Washington, totally providentially at exactly the right time, and I told the people here, whom I knew from some academic and professional meetings and who knew some of my writings and everything, um, that I was interested in the job that they had. It was an open call, and other people probably applied. They wanted, for this position, someone who was either a lawyer or a planner in a new program they were developing on science, technology, and society. Well, I have both legal and planning degrees. So, and they knew me. So I came here and, yeah, was interviewed, met all the right people, gave a talk, blah, blah, blah. One of the young guys took me to Shelley's Leg one night, which was the original gay club in Seattle, or one of the original gay clubs in Seattle. And the job was offered to me, but before it was offered to me, when this visit here was done, the director of the program drove me to the airport to go back east. And I was, even though I was young looking back at the time and green, I was smart enough to realize, hey, he's driving me back himself. He doesn't have a graduate student doing it. And in the course of the conversation, he said, well, what do you think about what we're trying to do here? And I was very impressed, and I told him. And he said to me, well, how do you think you might respond if we were to offer you a position on the faculty here? And I said, with all the talking I've done during my life, this was the single most important sentence I think I ever uttered. I said to him, well, Ed, I'd be very interested in it, but of course it should come with tenure. And he feigned being shocked, but I had been at Cornell for 5 years, so I was at the time, it was appropriate. My work was good, was nationally known already as a young up-and-coming person in the fields that I was working in. And lo and behold, when the offer came, it was with tenure. So I came to UW with tenure, and then as all this political work continued, the university, particularly the dean of engineering at the time, tried to either get rid of me or get me to change my work and my focus. There was a conference that you don't know, but figure of speech. There was a conference of Marxist scholarship that was held at the university, and I gave a presentation because I was doing critical analyses of science and engineering kinds of stuff. Well, the dean of engineering doesn't like that sort of things. And I was working in a field called technology assessment to look at the impacts and consequences of new technologies, and a lot of them, of course, are negative. Well, the dean of engineering doesn't like a faculty member in engineering doing those sorts of things. So the fact that I came here and had tenure protections, and he tried very explicitly, he called me into his office and asked me he wanted me to teach thermodynamics instead, and I had to say to him, but I wasn't brought here or given tenure to teach thermodynamics, and thank you, but I'm not going to do it. Quaking in my boots as I said it, but I was protected by tenure. I'm really a poster boy for if people think my work has been at all valuable, then I'm a poster boy for the value of tenure. They took it out on me in other ways. I was the lowest paid professor in the college for many, many, many years. I had to try 4 times till I got promoted to full professor and stuff like that. they took it out on me, and then I think it got to the point where one year when there was the legislature in flush times had passed additional monies for salary inequities at the UW, which was generally because women faculty were underpaid. I made a move then, and so that there was some money. And I think they were afraid that I might go to the newspaper. I already was publishing op-eds regularly in the Seattle Times and in the PI and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so you asked about the difficulties at Cornell, but the difficulties extended here too. But here I had tenure protection.